the dying light, fade into the fabric of the endless night. Every touch is cold, stories left untold. Time becomes untold, challengers of the unknown. In a world that's turned away, in the night that won't go away, we're travelers of the bleed. We try to believe. I carry my pain, nothing else remains. 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 Nothing else remains.
What the hell?
Oh my god! I do like that whisper effect at the beginning.
That is dark, Eric. Did you hear I mentioned Outsiders and one line said the bleed? That's all there is. That's all there is. It ties in. It works. Yeah. That was my attempt at darkness. But again, I'm not such a dark guy. I don't really sit there and write poetry, but I thought that you would like the lines like something of 1,000 days. I don't even remember what I put together in that, but there we are. The Outsiders. The Outsiders, and there it's shots fired against Eric Shea and his darkness that prevails. That sounds like a line from that song, but here we are. We have a bunch of books. We had 3 books to finish the podcast, 2 that we already mentioned that are weird, and I did what I told you I wouldn't do, Eric. I started talking about things. I messed it all up, but here we are, and we are going to start with The Outsiders, obviously. And I don't know, this book isn't as dark as maybe that song, but maybe it is, because you end up you got ghosts. You end up having Ginny Hex, which is cool. I didn't think that the reunion with, or at least the meeting of her and Jonah would be this lackluster, but it is, and it's just a book that I just don't get. I don't get why it exists. I don't think anybody's reading it, and I think that there's nobody talking about it except us here. But again, I looked at the landscape of things, and a lot of people talking about DC Comics anymore, so welcome everybody who is desperate for anything, and maybe we're like the last pick. They're like, I never liked these guys, but I'll see what they have to say. Hopefully you'll enjoy the skewering and reviewing as we go into Outsiders number 8. How many? It feels like we've dealt with this for like 8 years. It seems it's written by maybe like 8 issues. Jackson Lanzing and Colin Kelly on script. Oh my, the hot shots as they were called over at Marvel. Robert Carey on art. Valentina Taddeo on colors. Tom Napolitano on letters. And yeah, we get some weird things here. We find out a little bit maybe about the whole Crisis Baby deal and the,
Jenny Crisis,
but it feels weird. And Jenny Hex and this whole story, you got to figure out a better way that you get said character, say a Kate Kane, to go to the town of Zero, Ghost Town, and do things, because this just feels like,
I don't know. It in my mind, it's kind of cool because in the last issue, Outsiders, number 8, 7, I mean, we had the idea that, Kate Kane, after hearing that the drummer was Chiquita Wagner from Planetary, and what's all going on in this book, she's like, fuck this, I'm out. She took off. She's not an outsider anymore. And I think it does take the idea of getting a call from somebody they helped previously with Jenny Crisis.
Yeah, but again, if you're not an outsider and then you get a call from Jenny Crisis to go to a ghost town to help Ginny Hex, that doesn't make any goddamn sense to me.
She feels that she's doing good, though.
Yeah, but again, is she? I mean, this is more of, again, just an outsider's thing or a planetary thing. It doesn't feel like anything different. If she's going to be doing something different, I would think that she'd be hanging maybe in Gotham, wherever she was.
Well, technically, for what we have with Batwoman, she's always the monster bat of the Bat family. So her going taking care of ghosts, this is right in her wheelhouse, so it makes sense.
I didn't think it made sense at all. I mean, you get the idea of just suddenly, from across the world, getting a call from Jenny Crisis to then go and check on Ginny Hex, who's dealing with ghosts because of a gun. It doesn't really connect. And to me, basically, it's just them coming up with, I think that what they do anymore, and especially this one, is let's think of a random thing that we can throw out there, almost like, it'd be Amazing Stories or something like the Planetary Book that Warren Ellis did do. And you end up where, okay, we'll just go there. Because even then, she's just hanging in Gotham City in her apartment by herself and just gets a call, from across the world. And then we go. But even then, when we get there, this should be bigger. This felt like the idea you're setting up to go see Jenny Hex. But basically, it's Jenny Hex just explaining, I done opened that chest that we had from before. The gun I grabbed, now it's cursed. To then say hot potato to Kate because she grabs it. Just felt weird. It just felt weird by the end. There's not much to it. I mean,
well, that's the
really
thing. The coolest part about this, because we have the whole setup where we go to the town of Zero, where Jenny Hex is battling these ghosts with this gun that never runs out of ammo, and it really almost felt like the Saint of All Killers from Preacher.
That's all it feels like. It feels like 100%. Yeah.
And I'm like, is this the Saint of All Killers gun? Because that's a Vertigo world, but I want to know more about this because, when Jonah Hex found this in the 1800s, he picked it up. He became obsessed with this. He became the tool of this weapon where he went around and killed everybody who ever wronged him and pretty much just got this terrible bloodlust. And it just satiated the gun to like everybody you kill just keeps filling a chamber up in the gun to make sure that you never run out. But the way the curse works is that if you decide to stop killing, the last person you're going to end up killing is yourself. And the next person who picks up the gun is going to be cursed. And the worst part of my mind is that it feels like this is the end of Jonah Hex. This is the definitive end of how he dies.
It would be, but I don't think anybody's going to pay attention. But it does make sense. Like you said, that's what you would end up doing. You'd use the gun on yourself. And I have one note for this whole issue. Saint of All Killers. So I wrote, because as I'm reading, I'm like, this feels 100% like that. So in the meantime,
especially when you have Jonah Hex talking about using it, I'm like, yeah, and he just looks like the Saint of All Killers to begin with. But the worst part about that is because he's telling this great story about how he was like, on the run from this guy and his gang, and he's like about to die. He's like allowed himself to the idea that he's finally going to crawl into a hole and die, but something started calling to him, and he crawled down further into this crevasse, and he found this gun, which gave him the energy and the gumption to get back up and gun down everybody that had ever wronged him in his entire life, it seemed like at this point. But like, I just want to know why we didn't get to see this, because he's telling the story, and there's just pages that are like parchment pages, and it's just him talking with, it's just written out as letters, and I'm like, this would have been really cool to actually see what we're trying to talk about here.
If you're going to do this, maybe a mini series of Jonah Hex deal of it, that would have been cool, like a Jonah Hex Saint of All Killers, where you did go. But when you have it in just written prose, and I don't know, it threw me off again because I'm reading a comic and then I go into this, but it also ends up just shoving things at you, but also gets very, like, their writing is very basic bitch trying to be fancy at points, which is okay, but it just, at one point, it gets a little too much, I thought, when you have it. I like the concept, but again, you're not going to do really anything with it. And then, what are we going to do with it going forward with Kate here? I mean, obviously, if they do continue, she's going to get some sort of, hey, I'll go to Zatanna, and or I'll go here or get the curse up, because I don't think that will remain. Also,
or we can go back in time and make sure that Jonah never gets to begin with, and we have a paradox but break the curse.
That would be a crazy deal, but this book is done worse, I guess.
The whole book is called on the cover Generation Hex, and all of that made me start thinking of, we have these different versions of the Hex family. No. We have these different versions of the Hexes going on. We have Jonah Hex. You have the supermodel version of the Hex from the 90s that I love, and Ginny Hex. I'm like, bring them all together. You have the personality of Jonah Hex that comes out through the supermodel who was terribly scarred in the face. Bring her out. You have maybe the ghost of Jonah Hex, and you have Ginny Hex. You have all of them together. Like, that could be a cool thing that you set up through this whole weird time travel shenanigans where you get all of the hexes together.
Yeah, really? All I kept thinking is you're going to bring up hex and violence. Man. Hex and violence.
The only reason you made a hex and violence is because you didn't understand the concept.
Yeah, because I was going violence and hex. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But when you end up where, again, I think that the big concept here and the thing that could have been cool is what you said you don't get much of. You end up getting it in prose. You don't actually get the Jonah Hex deal and how you end up getting, because what we get in the issue is actually just Kate showing up and then Jenny saying, you shouldn't have come here. This is a ghost town. We don't really know, but we find out the ghosts are kind of coming after because of the gun, which seemed a little okay,
well,
I guess.
If you don't start killing with the gun, the ghosts are going to come for your ass.
Yeah, but it seems like the ghosts are maybe the ones that already got killed. But it just felt weird. But the idea where she's kind of in this ghost town shooting the ghosts with the ghost gun that possesses you. But really, that's it. You end up, Kate shows up and says, oh my God, is that a ghost? Yes, it is. Blam, blam. And then they go and hide out to blam, blam more. I mean, and then Kate says, oh, I am the monster. Like you said, she is. She's the one that deals with monsters.
Yeah.
I get it, a vampire. I know what I use. Salt. Throws the salt up in the air and shoots it. I'm like, you might have just been able to like throw the salt. Might have worked better. I don't know how crazy that is. But, you don't really do much. You really don't do much except for the concepts, which are kind of cool. And then when Jonah comes, I just thought, yeah, I kind of wanted, like you said, if you were going to time travel, which I don't think we are, but maybe.
But you can do crazy shit in this book.
I would rather have, though, Jenny time travel and meet Jonah, not ghost Jonah for the first deal and kind of go. I thought it would be maybe a little bit bigger.
Well, just remember the last time we time traveled with Jonah Hex was in New 52, where he was, put on trial in present-day Gotham, where Bruce Wayne was, for some reason, his lawyer. And then he got plastic surgery and fixed his face.
His face was fixed. Not only that, but I don't know if people remember, that book kind of ended with him sailing off as a pirate. Like, he was Pirate Jonah Hex, which I thought, oh, man, that'll be cool. Didn't really do much with that.
Nope,
but yeah,
that was the ending.
Remember, and that was a
ghost
thing. Remember, and for so long, I kept telling you, I'm like, because I was reading and reviewing it back in the day, and I said to you, something's wrong here. Something's going on. I think they've made them bring him into current times because it didn't feel right. And the whole, I'm a small town Bruce Wayne lawyering type deal. And remember, I kept asking Jimmy Palmiotti over and over, like, hey, they're making you do this, right? And he's like, no, like, we wanted to do this. Come on now. Like, next issue would come. And I'm like, I can tell, like, come on, wink, wink. I'm not going to say anything. He's like, no, this is what finally, when it get canceled, he sends me a message right away. He's like, yeah, we didn't want to do that. I'm like, I get it. He thought I was going to just, blabbermouth, which I give him credit for knowing me, I guess. But yeah, it was so weird. But I kind of liked it. It was kind of thing. And I do like the Palmiotti Gray Jonah Hex a lot. But this, again, like, I like the concept that it feels, like you said, Cinnabon Killers. But then that makes me pull it back a little and say, wait a second, I always say this about Lansing and Kelly. Anything that they're on, they always seem to be trying to ape something else. They're always trying. Now, concepts are great, and you were the one who opened my eyes a little bit, Eric. And, sometimes I'm tired, but you did say, sometimes people use cliches. Sometimes people use tropes because they're good. What's so bad about working things like that? But they go a little more than that. Like the idea of having a book and really throwing out an Outsiders book that is a Planetary book, but playing the idea of one-shot type stories like Planetary did back in the day, but kind of losing people. That's what they do, and it's weird. And this one,
we do have an overarching story, though, with the last night, the Duke Thomas from the Dark Multiverse. I don't know how it's going to play out.
I couldn't even tell you how it is. I mean, at one point, Kate, like, was it Kate that walked by and sees it in the mirror? Then Luke.
No, that was Luke.
Yeah, Luke sees it, like,
because he's another Batman, even though he's a Batwing.
And at one point, we thought maybe they even messed up because that was Duke as the last night, but then you have Luke in this, and maybe
that's the thing is they did that because they created that character for that Dark Multiverse story.
Yeah, some nonsense. But yeah, so
the thing is, the idea of not getting a lot out of this issue, even though it is these one-shot style Planetary stories, Kate does leave this issue going off cursed by the gun because she took it by Jenny. Like, she took the curse away from Jenny Hex, but she needs Luke's help. She's calling Luke desperately for help because we got to get to the bottom of the shit because, hey, I'm haunted, bitches. But Luke, at this point in time, it seems like he was taken away like at a campsite with the rest of the Outsiders team. And it just, like, we're going to go on to a new story in the next issue, like the Lost City of Canaan. But this has to continue on because this is the beginning of the story. So it's going to continue. This is just a setup for it.
Unless they just have, because Kate quit, I guess. I guess at some point, and you'll end with her being uncursed, I would guess, because, I don't know, I want Batman to see her rootin' tootin', but also, I just get,
Marilyn Moonlight can hang out?
Oh, actually, I was hoping Marilyn Moonlight might show up in it. I thought that'd be pretty cool. Ghost guns shooting, we don't understand those.
See, the thing is, she wanted to be there, but the sun was still up.
That is true. That is true. And plus, they weren't in the Old West Metropolis, right? They were
Old East.
They were in Zero. And then when I sit there and I start thinking, and this is how I'm running scared in things like this, or say a Cy Spurrier Flash with the Crown of Thorns, when I see the Lost City of Canaan, I see a canon there, but I'm thinking they're also going to twist it into continuity canon. I'm like, this is going to be bullshit.
Solicit for the next issue because I have to check this shit out.
Does it have it? Something like that?
Tangled in a Tale of Two Cities, because at the end of this current issue, it says the Lost City of Canaan, spelled like the cannon that blasts things.
Exactly, yeah. And there's a cannon. I see it.
And there's a fucking cannon.
It can't just be that, though, right?
Tangled in a tale of two cities, the lost city of canon, now the solicit spelled like continuity canon.
You mother.
The outsider's journey through and outside of the multiverse. And outside of dash the multiverse continues. Deep beneath reality, two cities follow diametrically opposed philosophies. One is built from legacy, continuity, and order, and the other is born from innovation, reinvention, and chaos. Between the delicate balance of their narratives sits our story, as well as the key to changing it. To do so could jeopardize the DC universe as we know it. So who is plotting to do exactly that? So I'm sitting here, I'm like, did you misspell canon, or is this going to be that one city that is out of canon?
Fuck you!
That's what I say. I'm telling you, I didn't look at the solicit because I knew it was bullshit. I'm sitting there, I see a canon, I see how they spell it, and I'm like, we're going to play this game of the stories and what's canon and not that, and I was right, because that's the worst thing. I'm in tune with the Lansing and Kelly. I don't want to be in tune with that because
I was too. That's why I had to look it up to see if they're going to play some games.
You get what I'm saying? It's also like a Cy Spurrier. It does the same thing where you're trying to play wordplay in a thing. And here's what I would suggest you do before. I love wordplay. I put in that song, The Bleed, right? So I did. I love the wordplay.
Is that wordplay?
You know what I like better than wordplay? There's one thing, a story. I like a story that you don't end up where, you can't base things on your stupid wordplay where you're using canon. You have a canon, but it's also canon. And I'm like, seriously?
Which is spelled differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you didn't even, you can't be clever enough that you, so stupid.
But the thing is, we see at the end, the Lost City of Canon, where it looks like Luke Fox and the rest of the Outsiders team has been
Lucius,
taken.
His glasses are broken. He can't see without his glasses,
Again, for some reason, in my mind, that makes sense as Lucius. I put it as Luke still having glasses for some reason. I don't know why. But no, Lucius makes sense. But you'd have the drummer, you'd have Luke, and you'd have Lucius there. But, like, it says the tale of two cities. Like, is this canon city that we see at the end of the split into two? Is it just one of the cities? Is one actually canon, like the continuity, and the other like a blasto canon?
I'm telling you, I don't know. Can we write that story? Remember we were talking about the story with the editor and all that we were making up that crazy, stupid thing? We could be the next Lansing and Kelly.
I don't want to be.
Well, I don't either, but I know we could be it because we're hacks.
But again, the idea of this Ginny Hex, the cursed gun, there's not a lot of bullshit with the play on words and the idea of changing the DC universe and being meta about it. It's not there. It is a story about a cursed gun and ghosts coming at you, and I can get behind that. Yeah, there's not a lot going on, but
nothing's going on. Big. That's the thing, though.
It looks good.
I think you continue on just to have her have that gun. I don't think we're going to get any more with Jenny or anything like that. But even
and maybe the gun will be the big thing, almost like in Supernatural, where it'll be the cult, the thing that can kill almost anything, and this will stop her big bad.
Maybe I just like some of the dialogue is that classic tropey deal of like, was I the gun or was the gun me? Like, was I firing the gun
Jonah.
Or was it firing me? It was
the gun the weapon or was I the weapon?
I'm telling you, some of this was, and he's like, I don't know where it came from. What bastard brought in this world? But every kill filled its chamber and powered it. It wasn't a gun. It was a bomb. Maybe a catalyst. I'm like, no, it's a gun. It's what it is. It's just a cursed gun. But again,
so the thing is, the idea that we're going to pass the curse off from Ginny Hex to Kate Kane, does it count that she takes the gun from Ginny and shoots Jonah, like Ghost Jonah Hex in the face? Does that count as a kill to make the curse start working? Because in order for it to work for Ginny, she had to grab that gun in the dead of night when somebody broke into her apartment.
In my mind, I mean, like if you would take it as say a vampire, the hunger type deal. I think that she still has the curse. The last bullet has to be to her.
You talking about like that David Bowie movie?
Yeah, just like if you're a vampire, right? Because, I mean, legitimately, she gets it taken from her, but there was never, I didn't see a rule of it being snagged by, you have to end it with a bullet in you. So I think that maybe she should be like.
But it's one of those things, the idea, you want to be a good person in the end after murdering all these people, and the only way to stop this curse is to kill yourself with the gun, because who would want to pass such a diabolical thing off to some innocent person? It's almost like the movie It Follows, too.
The funny thing is, somebody's going to get this gun, and they're not going to care about it. Like I'm telling you.
Blam, blam.
Yeah, blam, blam, blam. I'm
so
just
then I started firing, so I started blasting.
I almost got the idea, too, where, well, first off, it does throw, and I bet you if you put them on the spot, hey, Lansing and Kelly, so what you're telling me is you actually gave us a hint of the final days and the end of Jonah Hex. They would probably try to get out of it. Well, maybe not, because I don't think they're ever going to be able to put
Jonah
that
Hex
on.
rode the planes because he didn't kill himself with that gun. He just put it in the trunk, never to be seen again until the 21st century. And then he rode the planes trying to escape the ghost hordes that followed.
I wanted to know is if you don't end, like, are you immortal now until you end up, killing the deal, putting the bullet in yourself? But, because I wouldn't mind that either.
Well, now you're just in limbo. Walking the ghostly halls forever.
I wouldn't mind being. I'm pretty good. You get low. How low can you go like that? They're playing all the games there.
No,
limbo
not that
and
limbo.
Stuff.
No, not
Everybody's
that limbo.
dancing around. Yeah, for some reason I picture what's it called? Weekend at Bernie's. He's doing it.
I just imagine the idea you're in some limbo where all you do is play limbo and you're pissed off at everybody because they haven't lowered it and you just walk underneath of it.
Yeah. Oh no, that would be the best. That's almost like playing like a Civilization game, but you have the cheat code, so there's no effort at all. I'd have fun. I'd be like, I win every day. That's heaven. It's not limbo. But yeah, again, like the concepts were okay, but I'll tell you, for the first time ever, I was reading this, and when I looked at the first time I looked, I'm like, oh crap, I got like 2 pages left. It actually read pretty quick because it's straightforward.
It did, and I love seeing Ginny Hex again.
Yeah, it's okay. I just think that they had nothing. There was nothing to her. You didn't really get much of her personality because it's just in and out. She just ends up saying, hey, why are you...
Oh, yeah, she's definitely a plot device.
Yeah, it was a shame that things were so quick to then get to the city of Cannon. This could have been 2 issues.
The lost
maybe,
city of Cannon.
Lost city. It's going to be lost, all right. Lost in the sales chart there. This is where it's going to be lost. But what would you give this?
I would ultimately give this a 6 out of 10. It's not a terrible book by any means. It might be one of the better Outsiders issues in my mind. But again, you don't get a lot of it. You get Batwoman, you get Ginny Hex, and you're blasted away at Ghost. You get some Ghost Jonah Hex. Not a lot, but for some reason, it's still a bit satisfying with just the characters you have there.
Yeah, it's weird because I've sounded a lot more, down on it than you. But I'm a 6. Actually, a 6 as well. And I agree. It is one of the better issues of this book. I mean, that's kind of a telling deal. But you could do worse, I guess. I just wanted more. It was one of those where usually I want to get the hell out. This one, I actually thought you had some concepts. Why are you passing through this very quickly? I don't know.
And why aren't you showing me the cool shit with Jonah Hex?
Do. And this is something like, it's not a Lansing and Kelly thing. It's more of a Bendis thing. When he was at DC, constantly we were being told, oh, we just got done this off panel, which was the coolest sounding thing ever. Cool. To then have Naomi just bitch and moan about it being her first day. I'd rather see that other shit that you did. And I actually was going to ask you before we recorded, are we ever going to see Naomi again? Like, it would be pretty crazy if all of a sudden
she went back to her homeworld.
Just imagine, though, absolute power hits, and we find out that Amanda Waller had actually went to the homeworld because she has been jumping around in dimension. That's the other thing. It's not quite the multiverse. It was a dimension, but is it?
No, it's in the multiverse.
Yeah, remember that the whole play, though, he didn't quite understand what that was. But no, if Amanda Waller went and got some things, and her and some of the other characters would be pretty crazy. That'd be pretty cool.
I just hope that Naomi doesn't show up at the end of Absolute Power, like the end of Endgame, like Avengers Endgame, the movie where Captain Marvel shows up and just wrecks house because of how powerful she is.
Merry Christmas.
It's not spoilers. Watch some damn movies.
It's spoilers for one of us. But yeah, I'm a 6 as well on this. And I
don't think Naomi's going to make any kind of return anytime soon, if at all.
Is it at a point now? Because I don't know. I couldn't tell you myself, but I might be actually excited if she showed up. I didn't mind the character, just Bendis did nothing with her. So her showing up after a point in time might be kind of cool. I'm guessing that a lot of people, we liked Jenny Hex when in The Young Justice. Again, a Bendis character. I didn't even make that connection. I shouldn't lie. I should lie and say that was all deal. But again, you didn't get much Teen Lantern. People seem that they don't like Teen Lantern.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, she's depowered now.
Yeah. Was she ever anything? What other characters did he have? That Mark Shaw, was that his? It wasn't
no,
his.
Mark Shaw was not his.
The thing is, it might as well have been.
As Leviathan, then, yes.
That was the thing. That was their first inkling of who that was.
What's a manhunter?
What a miss. That has to go down as one of the worst, reveals ever. Yes. It was so bad. But speaking of bad reveals there.
We're going to get some bad reveals.
I'm just trying to get some segue here. I just make it up. Speaking of the bleed and Ginny Hex, what are we talking about next?
Blue Beetle number 10, written by Josh Trujillo with art by Adrian Gutierrez, Will Quintana, and Lucas Gattoni. And I'm telling you, they really missed a big opportunity in my mind. And obviously the series is ending, so you don't have a lot of time to do stuff. But Brenda being hurt in that accident in the previous issue where she had the green scarab like next to her, it should have gone onto her and made her the new green scarab. But instead, we have it reprogrammed as Pinnacle. It rebuilds itself into a giant, and it's now wreaking havoc over Palmyra City.
Now, and that's it. I mean, the issue really is the idea. We thought that the green scarab, and if you are reading it, you'll know what we're talking about. If not, Brenda ended up getting in a car accident. She tried to escape in a flying car at one point. Just go all over the place. And
either it's hers or Victoria Court's, who knows?
The green scarab was there, and she ends up crashing. We thought, oh my God, like it was perfectly set up for, Jaime to show up. Oh my God, Brenda's dead. The whole thing's a fiery wreck. And all of a sudden the green scarab like rises out, and Brenda's in, and then deal with it in these last couple issues. Again, I still think we have enough issues because I would think,
or even if, like,
by the end, you'd have it go away. I think the Horizon leave anyway and probably take their toys with them. But just to have Brenda in that and kind of get that play and maybe become one of these, it'd be the green Beetle, but still a Beetle. Would have been so cool. Would have been so cool. But instead, you don't give us that. Instead, you give us, oh, by the way, it's going to reform and make Pinnacle again. I'm like, no, Pinnacle wasn't good for the last. It meant nothing. Pinnacle
well, it did that in the previous issue, but now it has all this alien technology programmed into it by Victoria Court, where it has a healing factor, all these different kind of weapons. So it is the most excessive scarab that you can think of at this point.
And we talk about that. We even mentioned at the point where if Brenda was with the scarab, that it's Pinnacle. And it's kind of kidnapped her in a way of the scarab,
She's become the host, and it's going to stop Jaime from trying to go like all full house, like to bring her down.
And and learning the lesson from the blood scarab earlier when he seemed to have killed a guy and nothing came about. This whole series has been a wreck. But you could end pretty good, but this
two
was
issues,
nonsense.
including this in my mind, is still pretty good. This is what the entire series should have been in my mind, because we do have Ted Kord back, the second Blue Beetle, and he's teaming up with Victoria Kord to get into the new upgraded bug to make sure that all the Beetles are out there taking on this Pinnacle character. We have Jaime trying to take it out, but with the healing factor it has, he doesn't really have a leg to stand on until Ted shows up and is able to change the frequency so it can't match the frequency of the healing that it needs to do.
What you're telling me is bullshit. And you're right. This is what happens. But the idea, oh no, Pinnacle's back, has a healing factor. Oh, woe is me. What am I going to do? Ted says, I changed the frequency. Now attack, boom, done.
Well, no, the thing is, the idea, Victoria Kord created this thing. She knows its weaknesses and its strengths, so she's able to know how to take this thing down. But it's going to be a long shot.
Yeah, I didn't think that it was anything. I mean, basically what you're doing is repeating a fight, saying it has a healing factor, and then saying, oh, by the way,
you're having the Beatles work together here. You have Jaime talking to Kaji Da, and you have him working on and being a hero. And by the end, when Jaime is able to take down the giant Pinnacle, green scarab robot thing that they have here, Victoria's yelling, you need to destroy it right now. And Jaime's realized, no, this is a living creature just like Kaji Da. We're going to come up with a new way, and we're going to, if you were able to change it, we should be able to change it back, especially because we have the Horizon here, the people who build it. We have to come up with a different way, because I'm not willing to sacrifice another life the way that I did with the blood scarab.
Yeah, I thought this was lame-ass shit that's just ending a series.
He
and then
learned
you
a lesson.
Conclusion, that the lesson that he knew fucking 7 series ago, that you shouldn't kill things.
Hey, his ex-girlfriend Tracy 13 was putting a lot of pressure on his ass.
I'm telling you, he learned the lesson for the 8th time. I thought it was terrible.
He was pressed to the limits again with Brenda being hurt, but he was still able to get past his rage and anger of this.
You say this. I never felt any sort of tension, stakes, nothing, because it ends up, by the time I started figuring out what was on the screen and what they were doing, they'd already done it. They end up where, oh my God, there's this whole thing, and even that whole idea, oh man, I'm mad or whatever, I didn't really see it. I didn't really feel it at all. I thought everything fell flat. To just have this Pinnacle robot be, oh no, we're never going to defeat it. It's invulnerable. No, frequency done. Move on. Hey, let's kill it. No, we won't. I want to treat it as a thing. And in the meantime,
as a life, not a thing.
At the Horizon, I'm telling you, it's bullshit. What they should do is say, hey, come here, Horizon. Come here, huddle up here. Get over here. Get the fuck out of here. Like, they're bitching and moaning the whole time. I don't like them. I don't really know them. You tried to set up this deal with, like, the princess, and it never really worked to me. I didn't know their name until it pops up again. I just don't care. Where
we have restricted the amount of characters we've had in this book, because when we had it previously, When I didn't like the book, it was just overflowing with all these characters. Didn't have enough page splay to really get anything going. And now that we've limited it down to where it's Jaime, yeah, Teddy's back, but you want Ted and like Jaime to work together. It's pretty much you've whittled everything down to the point where you can actually tell a story, and I really appreciate it.
Well, you do that, but you also though you have Dynastis here.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about her. I really don't. She's
the Yellow Beetle?
The Yellow Beetle, but you already said, like, she's still here, but because you were so crowded before, I didn't get anything from her. Yeah, we're up the horizon. The only scene that sticks me in the horizon was when, remember, they were in that coffee shop, and the people were like, look at those asshole aliens. I'm like, okay, that's all I remember. And then you have Jaime at this one point, like, his big speeches, you know what I am? And he goes through, and he's like, I'm this, and an alien. I'm like, okay, nothing's hitting for me. And this Pinnacle deal
actually, the alien threw me off a little bit, because are you saying alien because you're born in Dakachi-da? Because you were born in the States, I'm pretty sure.
That's the thing that I was wondering, because it's almost like, and then I'm like, oh, you're playing this game? I don't know.
Because I'm pretty sure in this, his parents, like his family, are legal citizens of the United States. In the movie, they tried to say that, and a lot of this is a lot of stuff they introduced in the series is based from the movie. But I'm like, are you combining the stuff in the movie where his parents are illegal immigrants? Or like, because I still think that Jaime would have been born here, but I don't know how they're playing it. Because when you say the idea of the alien, I'm like, all right, because you do have alien like bonded to you.
I don't think that makes you an alien. So I think he's saying they're going by the continuity of the movie, which always gets on my nerves anyway. But even in that, it's like, no, like you have the horizon at one point in there, and they're like, hey, we got to do this, and everything just happens to happen, and you end up where Ted, even with Victoria's like, you got some splaining to do, but then they go off.
And she still has some splaining to do, because she's still, like, even though she wants to be good, because it seems like Victoria Court is more of a chameleon-like character, not shape-changer or anything like that, but she wants to be, like, the person that she's around the most. She wants to impress them. And now that she's around Teddy again, she wants to prove that she's a hero, but all these other parts are still sticking out. The idea of creating the Pinnacle robot, and, like, she wanted to do it for good, but obviously it's a bad idea.
Yeah, it's weird, though, like, because they were playing her as being bad, and then...
Well, she was bad in the movie.
But again, because of that, and then they pull it back to be like, nothing really hits for me. This book has like nothing.
So you're telling me there's this great panel in here too. After Ted and Victoria land the bug on the Pinnacle, and they jump out the jump chutes there, and they have the lines that they're coming down off, and he's like, "Pour it on, kid." It's such a cool looking panel with Victoria and Ted Cord there that's coming down.
I didn't even see that panel. I'm trying to look like everything.
It's right before Jaime lays it on and destroys Pinnacle.
Yeah, I'm telling you, me and you have a lot of different idea of what. Because I think this whole book looks like garbage. I can't bear.
Oh, I think the book looks great.
I can barely even tell what's going on, and I never could. I thought the art in this series sucked from the beginning. Oh yeah, I see that, but that's fucking terrible. You got to get your glasses fixed. I'm telling you, half of these things at the one point, when you have the bug go, it looks like it's just like a little tiny like device on top. It's just nothing.
Well, it is, because Pinnacle is gigantic.
Again, though, I can't barely even see what's going on. I fucking think this book looks like complete garbage. I'm telling you, my score is going to be so much lower than yours, because I think this series and this issue sucks ass. I think that it is not even worth buying. I don't think anybody is.
I think the last 3 issues have been pretty good.
I think it's fucking horrible. I can't stand it. I swear last issue we gave like a 5.5. But again, we were getting lower. But I think this whole thing is complete and utter just generic bullshit garbage. And you just have, Pinnacle, boom, done. Oh no, the Scarab, done. That's it. That's all we did. And nothing in between ever had any weight. Nothing. I could care less about any of the characters, including Jaime. I think it's bullshit. But what would you give it?
6.5 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 2.5. I read this and laughed, thinking that this is something that felt like it was written by a 6-year-old. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I always like the books that you do. I'm not a big Blue Beetle fan. This and that Graduation Day have made me so much less.
Well, Graduation Day wasn't a good series, and the majority of this series hasn't been good. But like I said, I think the last 3 issues have been building to something bigger. I just don't
think it's doing anything. Like, you mentioned the idea of, the uncle stuff. That got
she went up Uncle Jarvis.
And that got thrown aside. And then you get to this, and it's like the idea of, oh my God, this is cool. Maybe Victoria could be some villain. They kind of generic that up and throw it aside. Now she's just, like you said, I just want to have people notice
me. And that's
me.
the thing is, she still might be that villain character, because now it seems like, Teddy wants to overshadow her now that he's back, and I think she might take umbrage with that.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever. She's only in this because of the movie, and nobody watched the movie. It was a failure.
No,
so I think
people like the movie.
It made no money.
They have an animated series. They just announced today it's going to continue on the movie.
It made no money as far as I saw. I mean, that's what people are saying. I didn't watch it. I'll never watch it. But in this deal, I
don't think it was as good as everybody said it was, but it wasn't bad.
I'm telling you, I saw nobody say it was good, so that's a shock to me. All I saw was everybody saying that it was terrible, but I saw the trailer, I laughed. But yeah, other than that, I think this just goes away, and this Josh Trilio is terrible. He's a hack. I think that he's awful, and I don't ever want to read anything from him again. Now I'm getting angry. I was having fun earlier. Wait till next month. Maybe not. I know I'm saying after this issue, I would expect he not to be on anything. None of the books that he is, like this book hasn't sold. I don't even know why it came back, but we are here. We're doing it, but yeah, I hated it. I should have given it an FU5, but I thought that would be nice. But that's it. We haven't really disagreed on the book in a while, but this one I was actually angry reading it, and then I took it out on you. But that is...
took it out on everybody, not me.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, most people listening maybe get a chuckle because nobody's reading it. They're probably like, well, I guess either it's great or sucks. I have no idea. Nobody's reading it. And I don't hear anybody. A lot of reviews for it. I didn't even check. I think there were good reviews, but they were all the sus people left. I think we talked about that the other deal. But that is it for thank God it's Friday. It ended on a dark note, but pretty quick in and out. But the books really didn't have a lot of substance to them.
Not a huge amount.
If you're listening, watching, whatnot, and want to hear more of me lose my mind and yell at Eric, you can come and we have our regular show that comes out Sunday night. These books will be on it as well. We'll pocket these in, but we will also be talking about other things, maybe some better, some worse. I don't know. Green Lantern number 12 is one of them. Batman and Robin number 10, and then also the Sinister Sons penultimate number 5. That's such a disappointment, that one too. But again, Batman
I don't really think it's a big disappointment because I didn't expect anything from it going in.
That is true. Green Lantern, though, a lot of people did like, so we'll see how that is, and that's that. So with all of that, thanks everybody for joining up with us and having a grand old time. But if you also want to check us out on our Patreon and get a lot of shows, exclusive shows, including our Patreon Spotlight show that comes out every Thursday. And what did we do? We ended up doing the Gotham by Gaslight Kryptonian Age. We dug deep into that one.
And the Suicide Squad Dream Team finale.
Squad Dream Team. I think that started my week of me not agreeing with you because I don't know. Some of these books just they seem to just have nothing. Like they're I hate the term, but they're nothing burgers to me, and I just don't get it. But hey, at least remember one of the things though in that graduation day. I do remember my biggest complaint was, why aren't you showing us some cool things like this series at least has done that. You see some cool things that you have with like murdering the Blood Scarab. All kids like that. So you have some murder mayhem, but I don't know.
Kids don't read comics. What's wrong with you?
It's weird too, the idea, because you did go full out on. You hope that like the Justice League didn't show up, like, and if anybody's like, well, they could, Jim, because there is no Justice League. That didn't matter to Josh Trilio. They showed up after there was no Justice League. The members of
the former Justice League showed up.
Yeah, I remember. And then Starfire was slipping around. Then JLI, and you had all that. Then Teddy's back. Teddy came back a little weird. I thought that he was a little bit of a dick, too. But what was it? He's mad at his sister. She did some things. He just, at one point when he was like walking, he had a line that just didn't seem like something Ted would say.
It's probably because his sister crossed the line and he has to clean it up now. And he's not the responsible one.
Yeah. I wish I could find that line. He said something. It was almost
Dare
like,
you, Victoria, make me do things.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the guy has a heart problem, right? I don't know.
I don't know anymore.
He said something like Shiva. I don't know what he said. It just didn't seem like him. But
I'm waiting for a second Blackest Night to show up where Necron's just like, all right, all this multiversal stuff has brought a lot of characters back that shouldn't be. Everybody put on a black reg. You all belong to me now.
Everybody has it. Speaking of things, I'll just quickly, are me and you looking forward to and going to review that Plastic Man Black Label book, Eric? Is that the one by Christopher Cantwell?
I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not. I'm not a big fan of Christopher Cantwell. The last Plastic Man book we did, I didn't like, and you and Reggie liked it a little more than me, that one by Gail Simone. Yeah. I don't even know that we ended up finishing reviewing it. I think we did. And did we? I didn't like it much at all. But then we had, some stuff with him. Wasn't he in the Terrifics? Wasn't that guy in the Terrifics?
Yes, he was.
Yes, people seem to forget about that as well because they're like, we haven't had any Plastic Man, any books.
Which is weird because I always see everybody talk about, like, we got to bring back the Terrifics. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah, and
Offspring.
They're actually even talking, and Offspring seems to be in the book, but maybe not Offspring. I don't know. The whole
Black Label.
The whole rundown of it seemed very odd, and also was going with the idea like right away. Because if you don't know, now it is Black Label, so you can play whatever, but he is kind of immortal, and he doesn't age, but it's like the first thing. The Plastic Man's dying. I'm like, all right, what are you doing?
Well, you played a new angle of it. Something you never saw before.
But you remember, I think that in the Gail Simone, I think he'd already died, or he faked his death. Remember, it was something weird. But it also has his son in it. But with that is it now. I might do a video on that. The quotes are, like, insane that this Christopher Cantwell, where he explains, like, if you think that Plastic Man seems like a lot of fun, he's there to prove different. And these quotes, I mean, seriously, I'm telling you, these quotes are, like, so not fun. And I don't know.
Well, it's a Black Label book, but it looks like an all ages book, so I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it does look a bit. But he also says that the art's really good at body humor. Or body horror.
Body horror.
Horror humor. Body humor is what I look in the mirror. But right. Yeah, also body horror. Yeah, that's true. It's double.
I gotta laugh at myself.
It's a triple changer. I'm crying inside. But that's it. All right.
And on the outside.
The Outsiders. I gotta go, and I'll be doing a Grant Morrison X-Men show in a couple minutes, or at least when I read it, that will be tough, but maybe I'll be miserable still. I don't know. These books they just didn't do it for me. But we have some others. There's always more books, right? There's always tons more books. So we'll be doing that. So with that, everybody, thanks for listening. Eric, what do we say at the end of the Thank God It's Friday show?
In a world full of chimps, always make sure you go ape.
You are all weirdos.